This is insane. It is no surprise that the New York Rangers are looking to make a major move to shake up the roster, and one insider has revealed that the Rangers are now linked to former Ranger JT Miller. We're going to break that down, and a very disappointing game in this episode of Rangers Digest. But before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you who are watching our videos are not actually subscribed to the channel. So if you want to do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button. It's free and you get to stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. And there has been a lot to stay up to date with the New York Rangers. And let's get right into it. Yes, the New York Rangers are now linked to former New York Ranger JT Miller. This is from The Athletic and obviously Open Ice in the Bleacher Report. The Rangers recently inquired with the Canucks about JT Miller. And again, that is from The Athletic. And I think this is very intriguing. This is very interesting, especially because they want to move off of Jacob Trouba as well. Very difficult to do that in season, but the Canucks are dealing with a few injuries on their back end, so I wonder if a Jacob Trouba for JT Miller swap makes sense. JT Miller makes just about as much as Jacob Trouba. He makes $8 million for the next 5 or so years. I mean, a little bit less than 5 years. He's in year 2 of his 7-year extension, and it expires when he's 37. He's a little bit younger than some of the Rangers core right now at 31 years old. The aging core, I should say. The young core does look pretty good in Alexis Lafreniere, but JT Miller is very interesting. And if you look at his stats this season, we'll get to Jacob Trouba in a minute. If you look at his stats this season, 16 points in 17 games, almost a point a game player on a Canucks team that is not as good as last year. So he's put together some pretty good minutes. He's obviously playing a significant amount. He's a great power play performer, which could help the Rangers as well. He's underrated defensively. When he locks in, this guy is a very underrated defenseman. He has not defenseman. He's underrated on defense, I should say. He has all the tools, obviously, to put it together when he's locked in and he wants to play. So again, a pretty good season this year. He had 103 points last year. So this guy can put the puck in the net and dish as well. So Rangers fans are very familiar with this player and know what he can do. So I think this is a very interesting fit right now. There's been nothing in terms of actual, what would come back in a trade or what would have to come out in a trade, but I think this is very interesting. This would certainly shake things up. You're familiar with this player in the organization as well. Fans are familiar with this player. He's put together some really solid seasons with the Vancouver Canucks. I think it's very interesting. I think Jacob Trouba would obviously have to go in a trade if this was to happen. I'm not saying necessarily to the Canucks 1-for-1 or anything like that, but there is a world where the Canucks could use a guy like Jacob Trouba for at least a year. And it was rumored that Jacob Trouba wouldn't mind going out west. And Vancouver is out west. So I think that was very, very interesting. And obviously, I'll cover more on this as we get more information because this is a very interesting fit. But now I wanted to get into the game. Very, very disappointing game against the Philadelphia Flyers. And we're going to get into some stuff. I have some things I want to say about the way the Rangers are playing because honestly, it is disgusting. But one thing that is the opposite of disgusting and very classy is the Flyers organization as of late. And again, these two teams have had battles in the playoffs, right? Enemies, rivals. But this I thought was very classy. We've seen Detroit do it this season. I've seen Toronto do it in person this season. And ahead of today's game, Keith Jones presented Sam Rosen with a brick to commemorate his final game in Philadelphia. Of course, this is the Rangers' only game in Philadelphia this year. Of course, unless they both make the playoffs, which is looking unlikely for maybe both teams at this point. But he has obviously been the voice of the Rangers for the last 40 years. So I thought this was very classy. But to get into the game, horrible game. I mean, the Philly commentators were saying how soft the Rangers were. It's 5 straight losses in a row. You only score 1 goal. No emotion. It absolutely looks like Jacob Trouba has checked out of this team and this season. After what happened earlier, and we're going to get into it, this week where Chris Drury, came out and said, hey, the fire sale's on. We're looking to make a shakeup of our team. It sounds like the locker room dynamic has completely changed. This guy looks completely checked out. So I'm not sure if that was even the right move to make. I thought it would have the opposite effect where guys would be fired up and they want to win, for this team because this is their last shot at it. Looks like it went the opposite direction. Everyone looks absolutely checked out. 5 straight losses. Not good. In their last 8 games at this point, they've gone 0 for 12 on the power play. Horrible. That's another reason why JT Miller might actually help in that regard. But to get into some quotes too, and this is your captain, Jacob Trouba, post-game, you know it's not good enough. I think everybody knows that. Nobody needs to announce that or scream or kick and yell. But you know what, Jacob? I think people and fans should actually scream, kick, and yell at this point. I mean, this team has been playing, even past the 5 games, horrible hockey. This is not sustainable hockey. You're relying on your goaltender far too much. Now people are saying that, and you've seen it in, over Twitter and social media the last couple of days, Igor's not worth the contract that he's asking for. These guys are hanging him out to dry, right? He has no chance. So to say something like that, I mean, yes, I think it absolutely is time to panic. There was a problem before the losing streak began, and the problem's even worse at this point. And the one thing during the game that was the worst thing to me, I think, and I have to credit the Rangers color guy on the radio for bringing this up on the broadcast in game, because this absolutely blew my mind. There's a play here that comes up to Panarin. It's ruled offside. Konechny gives him a shot. He gives him one back. And then you can see here, they come together. The Flyers all jump in. Where are the rest of the New York Rangers in this ordeal? What happened? Where are the rest of your teammates? Nobody jumped in. I'll play it one more time. They give each other a shot. These things happen, right? That's all fine. I love that Panarin came back at him. I love that. And I love Panarin's fight in his season. Look, they start to rough it up. Where are the Rangers? They're all in their own zone. They're skating away. They're ready to go to the bench. Be engaged. Stick up for your teammates. Act like you want to be there. Act like you want to be in this game, like you want to compete. We're not seeing any of that. It's not that they're not playing well either. They're not standing up for each other. They're not fighting for each other. And that's something that I think all Rangers fans are absolutely disgusted with right now. The effort. There is no effort right now. And even if they were putting it in and there was bad luck, right, that would be one thing. But there's none of that. They're not earning any wins. They're not earning any of this ice. The first period was one of the worst periods of hockey I've seen this team play in a very long time. It was so absurd. And I think fans are absolutely feeling it right now. When you look at the impact charts as well, negative impact for nearly every single player. But obviously, if you look at the bottom of the list, Ryan Lindgren, Adam Fox, Jacob Trouba, like these are guys who are supposed to be your best players. They're supposed to be some of your best players and relying upon them for good minutes. And Phil, right after the game, as soon as they tweeted out the final score graphic, Phil tweets this out. Maybe it's time to blow it up. Maybe it is time for a shakeup. We know that they're kicking tires now on a guy like JT Miller. We know that Chris Kreider's name is in talks again. I will stand on the fact that I don't think he's the one that should go. I think out of everyone in, the top 6, let's say, or not even the top 6, the upper echelon of players of this team, he's the last guy that should go, I think, at this point. He has been performing. He's been the longest tenured Ranger, and the only reason that he would be traded is because his contract would allow for that to happen, and he makes some significant money, right, at $6.5 million. So very, very interesting. I mean, I think something's going to come down very soon. It looks like Jacob Trouba has checked out at this point, which we knew that he was going to be traded. They wanted to move him last offseason. It didn't work. We know that he's going to be moved this offseason if he's not traded in season. So I think just, rip the Band-Aid off if you're Chris Drury. Try to get a deal done where you're not getting completely ripped off, because they have to try and improve this team very quickly, because it does not look like this team has any fight and that they would go deep in the playoffs whatsoever. And I think that was a problem last year too. So this is a real issue. They got to get it together. I feel like the answer should be in that room, but the way that they played today and the last couple of games is making me second guess that a lot. But let me know in the comments what you think about all of this. Let me know in the comments what you think about JT Miller possibly becoming a New York Ranger again. He could help the power play. There could be some use there. It would be a very significant trade, but they could absolutely get it done. And again, the Canucks could use some defense help right now. And let me know what you think about the Rangers' play as of late. Not good at all. And I do not like the fact that they are not playing for each other and standing up for each other. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.